All right, so today is getting kind of down to almost D-Day, and it's going to be a chaotic day of just trying to get a couple of things done. And the main thing I need to get done is the Northeast Vintage Drags up in Oxford, Maine. Is happening in a couple of weeks. I got the fleetline in that garage. I think the motor's fixed. I haven't done a serious burnout with it yet. I just did like a tiny one to make sure all the push rods and all that stuff's going to survive, because if you remember in the build of that, I was running on 6 cylinders. I was 2 cylinders down the last time I ran. So I'd like to run it again this year just to see what that $120 or $150 motor has in it, because that was a good motor. So today I gotta move the fleet line. I got the plow in front of the garage over there. I gotta move that out back and out of the way for the year anyway. I gotta move the trailer over because I gotta get the tractor out of there, because that'll be easier moving the plow, and then I'll probably use that to drag the 55 around. And then I got wheels and tires in that thing. I gotta unload, put in my other trailer and whatnot. So there's a lot of random stuff I gotta deal with. And then the fines that I got just the day before yesterday, the wheels, the crane, and the front axle, I gotta shuffle all that stuff around. So let's see how today goes, and hopefully there'll be the most satisfying burnout on this property yet, because when I dropped the car off, I just did a little burnout, and then I felt bad with how loud it is and how quiet the neighborhood is, because if you listen, it is silent out here. So noise travels, and that thing is offensive with the zoomies on it. So let's see if that moved, the plow moved. Well, we gotta get that moved, the plow moved, that moved, the trailer moved, the truck moved. Let's get it underway. And hopefully the mice didn't ruin anything in the fleet line. Oh boy. These are wheels and a couple of tires that I have to mount up to get the next car I'm picking up. Hopefully this weekend. The rain keeps messing with me. You'll understand why I can't get it in the rain when the time comes. But do those wheels give it away? Let's bring them in for a little look. Does that style wheel give away what the car is? They're American Racing Vector wheels. See who can guess what the car is. That'll be in a video coming real soon, hopefully. Oh, there she is. She's rolled out, and it doesn't look too bad. Brakes ain't locked up, and I remembered where I stashed the keys. That's a huge positive, because I put them somewhere totally obscure, not in the car, because at the time the camper wasn't here or anything else. So I'm glad I remembered where they were. So doesn't look like the mice got to the motor. The mice were inside. There's still one mouse inside, but he ain't going nowhere. But a couple of them have left their markings everywhere. Nasty. And yesterday, the other trailer, where I have my tire machine balancer and stuff like that, that had mice in it, and I just spent the whole day yesterday in there trying to clean out what I could get, and it smelled so bad, and they had nests everywhere. So we'll probably find some surprise nests in this one, but this is what we got so far. So overall, she is what she was when she went away, you know, all patched up and whatnot. And there's some of the roofing from the roof of the garage, because this is where it's been sitting to be partially sheltered. And there's the original seats and stuff. I keep saying I'm going to list them and see if somebody wants them, because the frames are good. And it's a two-door frame, and these cars are hard to find. But I never list them. I should totally list them. But anyway, so yeah, that's all roof debris and stuff like that. But like in the trunk, you can see they were passing across here, because those marks on that fuel line, that's where they drag their butts. Worst parts about mice is they like literally poop while they're walking and drag their dirty butts over everything, and it is nasty. If they had like one designated pooping zone, it wouldn't be so bad, but they just do it everywhere. Like, look at the driver's seat. Of course, the driver's seat, the one I have to use. And see, those are all the tracks, them dragging their butts. And that's all the turds and all the tracks from them using this ramp, which I had the wheel chock sitting there. Talk about a perfect disaster. They would have just climbed up the seatbelt or something anyway, but that gave them the passage to come up onto this one and up onto that one. But yeah, all mouse poops and whatnot, acorns all eaten out and whatnot. And I'm kind of dreading taking this. I had thrown these over it to keep it from getting wet, and then I saw mice tracks, and I pulled them up, pulled the bags off the seats to not give them a den. But now I'm seeing that there are trails coming up the back of the seat on both sides in the corners. So I'm hoping they didn't make a dent on the top edge of the seat. So let's see what we got here. Okay, not a total dent, but you can see their markings. So that all needs some heavy scrubbing. They were doing the same over here, trying to get to higher ground, I guess. And then I did have one of the Grandpa Gus bags in here, but I don't know what happened. This stuff works pretty good, but it turned black. I don't know if the mice were peeing on it, saying, screw you, that's not going to work this time. And yeah, and then the passenger seat, same thing. Most turds everywhere, not as bad as the driver's seat. There's one of the culprits. And I'm guessing they were pulling some of that insulation to make a den somewhere, and it got rinsed out. Little acorns and stuff. Yeah, you can see that. That's just nasty. That's all gonna have to get scrubbed. I'll have to blow this out and then vacuum it out and then scrub it all. But it doesn't look like they chewed up any wiring on the motor, like my last minute wiring. Keep in mind with this car, it was an 18-day build from a roller that had no motor, no tranny. Well, it's got an S10 chassis under it, so it had the S10 motor and tranny sitting in it. So I'd pull those, do these motors, had to rebuild the front brakes, swap the rear end, made zoomy headers, wired it, did all kinds of structural work, making rocker panels and floor pans and all kinds of stuff like that. And like none of the nose was together, it was just hanging here, so I had to make up braces for that. And I'm sure I'm forgetting other things. Fuel system, all the brake systems. There was no pedals in it, no brake pedal, gas pedal, because those are in the frame of the original car and whatnot. So no judging on some of the hackery, we'll call it hackery, you know, just the crimped on yellow terminal ends and stuff like that. But 18 days and we went racing, and we didn't break anything other than push rods. So I think for what it was, we made out pretty well. But yeah, so it doesn't look like they really got in here. But it doesn't look like any of the spark plug wires down there are chewed up or anything. The wiring looks like it's chewed up, other than the terrible wiring we did in a rush. And I don't see real many of their trails. Like I see like one turd there, and looks like they chewed at this rag here a little bit, but overall not too bad. And one of the things I meant to do, I wanted to make sure mice didn't go inside the exhaust and make a nest in the cylinders, which I've had that happen before. And with these zoomies, it's very inviting for that to happen. So I had just balled up a ton of house wrap because it's kind of like woven, so it's a little more rigid. So I just rolled that up and stuffed it in there so they weren't just traveling in, and I could peek in and make sure like they weren't missing. But I intended to put like plastic caps over them. Never did it. When I was rolling it out to stop it, I just grabbed the shifter and pulled it into second gear, and it popped one of them out. So with the roof leaking, apparently one of the roof leaks was going right inside the header. So it literally, it spun the motor when I slammed it into gear to stop it from rolling, and it spit all that water out in that. So there's all water down in there. I don't know if you can see it or not. It's not picking it up. But I'm guessing all of them are like that. Yep. Okay, so that one's filled right up to about here. That one's down the bottom. That one's down the bottom. You can see it now. So that's going to make a interesting spray when I start it up of rusty water. And I'm seeing stuff on here, so I'm guessing these ones are going to be full also. Yep. 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 They're all full. But they're so much lower than the motor, so like it's not like it could backfill to the motor. It just plugged it up, which is a little bit of a bummer because it can, yeah, it's a little bit of a bummer because with the water there, with temperature changes, it can condensate and come up and rust the valves, rust the valve seats, rust in the cylinders, and all that. So that's a super bummer. If there's a problem with that, that's my own fault, because like I said, I intended to put plastic caps on it. I took measurements. This is what I had at the time. I shoved it in there and closed the garage door and pretty much forgot about it. So, oh well. And I may try and swab some of that out. I should just fire it off because it'll look cool spraying it out, but I'll just have to make sure there's nothing that it's going to spray on. Like that side will spray all over the ride-on, so I'll have to move the ride-on just to, because you don't want rusty water on things. It stains. So I'm going to blow this out, vacuum it out, and scrub down the seats a little bit. Probably just put a bag over it for right now. Get the battery in it I picked up for it yesterday, and then see about firing it off. I don't know if I'm gonna wait. I got a message out to my neighbor. I might wait to fire it up until he's home, if he's gonna be home at a reasonable hour today, just so he can be here for the fun. But if he's gonna be late, I'll probably fire it up soon. But let's get it all cleaned out and hope they didn't chew the wiring under the dash or fuel lines or anything like that. Alright, so time lapse shut down, but I got the battery and threw the battery in it. That's all you missed. So got it all vacuumed out, and it's a lot better than it was. You know, all the surface turds are off. It's still all stained, so grabbed a couple of new contractor bags. I'll bag that seat up, and we'll see if she'll fire. I don't know if I'm going to fire it and just do a burnout right away. I may fire it up and just run it for a couple minutes, kind of check things over, and see if the neighbor got back to me, if I'm going to do the burnout now or wait till later. But let's get the seat covered up. Let's get it fired up. I'll see if I can get you guys in a way where you can see the water spraying out of the exhaust. I'm trying to keep the RPMs low at first to not spray it all the way over there onto the caddy, but hopefully just kind of get it all out before I really rev it. All right, wish me luck. It fires up and runs good. Here's if I unplug the cord. Again, try to Yep, I did. Now she's flooded. It's been a while since come on. That's what it is. Yeah, I gotta see which side it goes in. Oh, well, that was a bummer. Now, I will say I pumped the ever-living crap out of it, so she's gonna fire up a little on the rich side. Well, she's alive, and I didn't turn on the vacuum pump for the brakes, but I forgot I had there's 3 switches in there. So I had the fuel pump and the other switch on. I forgot that the vacuum pump is also the ignition. I remember we wired it that way, so we made sure if it was running, we have brakes. So that's why I didn't fire initially when I hopped back in it this time. But, like I figured, that water was going to spray out of the exhaust. I don't know how it looked on camera. There she is. She's there. And this was just on startup. It's all over here and on the roof of the caddy. So, not that I care too much about the paint on this at the moment, but rusty water stains like crazy. So I'm gonna get some water and rinse that off because it's warm and that's probably baking on as we speak. So I'm gonna deal with that right now, and then we'll get back into giving this a look over and see if we're doing a burnout now. All right, so walked down over to that neighbor's house, talked to his wife because he's off golfing. I texted him earlier, but just wanted to let his wife know I was going to make an obscene amount of noise. She's like, don't worry about it. And I was like, it's going to be loud. She's like, well, I'm leaving anyway, but don't worry. And then I went to the neighbor diagonally across the street, next one up, and just apologized ahead of time that I need to make a bunch of noise to test this to see if I can go racing. And she was absolutely, don't worry about it, no problem. I just didn't want to find out the hard way that one of my neighbors is working a night shift and they're trying to sleep during the day, because that's when you make an enemy. When somebody's just trying to get some sleep and they can't, that's when you create problems. Ask me how I know. So anyway, we got the go from both neighbors on both sides. So we're gonna let this thing rip, and let's hope that motor holds together. I'm just gonna set the camera up. I'll probably give you guys a low view, shut the hood, shut the trunk, and I'm gonna go back and forth a couple of times, just try out the brakes, make sure the brakes are holding. And because it's just sitting on a wheel chock right now, because if I do a burnout and let it rip, I gotta stop before I go out on the road or through the 55. So let's I might even do a little bit of sweeping here. Let's do it. All right. Wish me luck to go through. think that sounds pretty good. I may pull the valve covers and just inspect everything. But when it was breaking the push rods, it was doing it the very first burnouts. Like the very first one, it would break it. So I never even got one run out of it. So that sounded like I fixed it right the last time. So I'm stoked. This is awesome. And yeah, so hopefully the neighbors were ready for it. And hopefully it came through on the sound on this good enough for you guys. But holy crap, I think we're going racing in a couple of weeks. So, oh boy. Hey, all right. I don't know. I don't even know what to think. I'm like vibrating right now. I'm so excited. But I'm not wanting to be like all cranked up and yelling and all that stuff. It's happening inside, but I'm very, very calm on the outside. So that's awesome. So anyway, this will probably be it for posting this video real quick. And yeah, wish me luck. Everything goes good when I check it out. And hopefully next video you see on this, I'll either be doing some lettering on it or something like that. And then the racing. So there'll either be one and then racing, or the next one on this car will be racing. So, oh boy, I'm excited. I hope you guys are too. Let's see what let's see what the $120 estate sale find motor can do. Oh, that worked out perfectly. Putting the tractor up far up front near the front tire, and being able to back right in the garage, pull it right into where I needed it. No manual power needed at all. Take that as a win.